Auroville calling.
In this series, we will introduce you
To the essence and spirit of Auroville, the teachings of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother, current developments, and Auroville's sustainable approach to a conscious living.
all possibilities of volunteering, internships, and collaborations with Auroville,
and also attempt to answer some of your questions in each session. Here is a glimpse of one of our units at Auroville.
In my 20s, I started to work with instrument making. I had a master in Switzerland, and I think I was always more on the listening side of life. So I was listening to nature. I realized that I could become a co-creator of sound, of natural sounds. Behind many of our instruments, it's sound and space. How the instruments work and reflect and bring out certain qualities from a space and into an interior space. In my 20s, I was traveling all over the world, stayed in different cultures, mostly in the South Pacific region, stayed with indigenous people, Maoris, Aborigines, and was experiencing there, I encountered the pure magic of music. The use of music in ceremonies, in rituals, and in healing. When I came to India in the 80s, and I had the good fortune of working with a very deep classical singer, Hindustani singer, it was like entering into the deep domain and realm of the science of music. The instrument workshop is placed in nature. We are fortunate that this natural setup is associated or in the context of this utopian community project of Auroville. I think we're very fortunate of having a huge palette of different materials from which we can resource basically and bring it together in compositions in our instruments. That's a beautiful foundation, because what we are looking for in our instruments is capturing the atmosphere, the inherent harmonic structure of nature, or what makes nature so attractive, because the aesthetics are right in nature. The divine creator is the big artist. I'm very excited that collaboration with Earth Moments. Basically, if they manage in their sampling to bring some of that quality across from those natural sounds, hopefully that can bring the sounds of Svaram into people who would not have an access to it, people who are in a complete different mindset. So the hope would be that those sounds find new touching grounds and inspire people and maybe open their ears into the vibrations of natural materials and vibrations of nature. So I think there's a beautiful possibility of a mutual enrichment, and I'm excited for it.
Namaste, Vanakkam, bonjour, greetings from Auroville. We want to reach out to our sisters and brothers of this global, beautiful planet who are interested in the divine journey in this adventure of consciousness. And we want to welcome you all with a lot of love and respect to join us at Auroville. As you know, Auroville was a beautiful dream that the mother had based on the direct action work of Sri Aurobindo. And he had really thought of actually having a divine life on earth and written extensively about it. In an attempt to actually translating that on the ground and making it happen, the mother founded this beautiful city in the year 1968. Now, we are at a very, very beautiful point of inflection, and we're really reaching out and want each of you from various countries of the world, from different parts of India, different parts of the world, whoever has this great calling within them to be able to excel in various fields of work in the world, in the plane of existence, but couple that with deep levels of consciousness. So, people that are really committed to making a difference in the world and actually do work that would lead to a lot of aesthetics, beauty, prosperity, abundance, harmony, all of it, and all of this which is anchored in genuine harmony within, and harmony that makes us realize that we're all indeed one. There is no other. All of those who want to embark on this adventure, and there's a lot of work that is to be done at Auroville. We have over 700 units that dabble in various fields, ranging from education to solar energy, from making the best chocolates and confectionaries that you have anywhere in the world, to making the best garments, farms, green belts, just about any product that you can think of. You can also start something new. We're also having some exciting possibilities in the startup realm in partnership with institutions like the Indian Institute of Technology, Madras, and also an innovation center for startups and so on. So on this note, I want to again extend a warm welcome with a lot of love and respect to each one of you. And this is a special place in India that has been given the provision of granting an X visa for up to 1 year, and we'll be very happy to welcome you. And we believe very strongly that Mother wanted about 50,000 people to live in this beautiful city of dawn, Usha Nagari, as we also call it, Auroville, which is named after Sri Aurobindo as well. And if you make up your mind and want to be a part of this beautiful adventure of consciousness, the adventure of Auroville, that Mother has actually created a sandbox, a place for all kinds of experimentation, but which are actually requiring us to be willing servitors of divine consciousness. If you really feel called to be a part of this, we would be very happy to welcome you. There's a process for applying, and we're looking forward to inviting you. And as Sri Aurobindo said, all can be done if the God touches there. On that note, we are really determined collectively, on behalf of the governing board, on behalf of Government of India, and all the residents of Auroville, all the people of Auroville, we want to offer this at the lotus feet of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo as a complete consecration, and take this opportunity to welcome you all to be a part of this great endeavor. Thank you. Namaste. Vanakkam. Bonjour.
Greetings from Auroville. Auroville is a city named after Sri Aurobindo, the great Indian evolutionary sage, thinker, philosopher. He is credited with a great epic poem which doesn't equal any other in India or the world in modern times, called Savitri. So the city is named after him, and it was founded by his spiritual collaborator, the Mother, who was from France, Mira Alfassa. She founded this city in February 1968. Now, why did she even start a city in the first place? To come to that, we'll go back a little bit to when Sri Aurobindo was working in 1931, just before the World War. They were working towards the next step of consciousness. And this next step, once established in the material plane of Earth, would lead to a creation, a material creation in the form of a model town. Now, this model town finally comes into life in February 28, 1968. The preparation for that involved the Mother inviting an architect, a French architect called Roger Anger, who came in 1965, and with whom she worked for the next 3 years until the final model of this town was approved. And this was like a concept like no other in the world. If you see it, there's nothing else, you know immediately this is Auroville. And this plan was called the Galaxy Plan. So in February 28, 68, Auroville was introduced with two things. One was this city plan, and the second was a charter which would explain what this city was all about. So let me tell you a little bit about the charter, because that brings us into the whole spectrum of Auroville. So it starts with Auroville belongs to nobody in particular. Auroville belongs to humanity as a whole. But to live in Auroville, one must be the willing servitor of the divine consciousness. Now that is a challenge and a great beauty. And that is where Auroville is centered, and from there Auroville takes on, because it is a huge journey and adventure of consciousness. So to come to the second part of the charter, it says Auroville will be a place of unending learning, of constant progress, and a youth that never ages. So what kind of education is this? What kind of learning is this? It is not confined to the school room or to the college spaces. That is, of course, important. And Auroville has many schools inside itself and in the bioregion, different experiments. But it is a constant growth of self-knowing through the consciousness. And this is what Auroville is an arena for, in different aspects of its growth. So the third one then is Auroville wants to be a bridge between the past and the future, taking advantage of all the discoveries from within and from without. Auroville boldly leap towards future realizations. So this is that whole material field of Auroville, of its realization as a city and realization as in different aspects of the city. This is one of the reasons why the city was put in place right from day one. It was only until that was kind of formed and approved by the mother that the city came into being. And the dimension of the past and the future, of the inner and the outer, this is a very important aspect of Auroville's growth and its, let's say, learning and expression in all forms. Now, when we come to the last one, it says, Auroville will be a site of material and spiritual researches for a living embodiment of an actual human unity. So you see, the material and the spiritual are always joined for Auroville. What happened when we first came to Auroville? Everybody was building what is at the center of the peace area. It's called the Matri Mandir, an area of consciousness. Everybody joined together to work, young people, old people, people from all over the world, people from, around the bioregion. And that was the great joy, that we were living and working together to build this central, space of cohesion of Auroville, the soul of Auroville. And from there, it holds the whole city in its embrace. So the material and spiritual aspects, why, many people have asked, why did it have to be a city? Why not just another ashram? You are such a spiritual experiment. It is because the whole, should I say, the sadhana of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother was to bring down the consciousness on earth, so that it was not the way the old yogas usually work, that there's an ascension, you merge with the divine, and you are in that beautiful space. But that question is, how does that affect life? Does it change life? It might change one or two people, or whoever has that privilege of going up, ascending, and having that connection with the divine. But their whole work was to establish, how does this consciousness enter matter and thereby change life, all aspects of life, through the vehicle of a city. Because a city contains everything. It has education, it has building, architecture, design, teachers, gardeners, plumbers, everybody is part of it. Yeah. So the question very often comes to us, but who can join Auroville? So the answer to that is everybody. Anybody who wants to join the adventure is welcome. So whatever your area of interest may be, you may be a photographer, you may be a cinematographer, you may be an artist, you may be a writer, educationist, anything. So this journey of self-development and to give back to the world, something that can manifest change, this is a place for it. So one can join as a volunteer. You can come here for 3 months, 6 months, be a volunteer. And if you want to go further, you can apply to become a newcomer. After that, you can apply, it depends on your own growth, your own interest. You can choose to join Auroville. And once you join Auroville, you enter the sphere of action. Until then you are there, you are helping something, doing some work there. You enter the sphere of action, you enter the sphere of, decisions that are taken for the city so that the city can happen. Now, right now, for example, I'll bring you up to date. We are doing something called the Crown in Auroville. And the Crown is a very interesting element of the city which holds together all the 4 zones. I have a very simple image here. I'll just hold it up. It's not a full thing, but if you can see it. So then you will see that there's the city spreads out in a spiraling form, and then there's this round form which joins all aspects, all parts of the city. And this is called the Crown. And what is interesting about the Crown is not only it holds the infrastructure corridor of all, for the city, whether it is electricity or water and so on, which is necessary for everybody, but it also connects the 4 zones, and it plays an interesting role in the sense that, it will manifest the different aspects of the 4 zones. So we have residential, we have cultural, we have international, and we have industrial. So all these zones will be reflected in the Crown, whoever wants to come and experience that. And most importantly, it makes Auroville a very pedestrian town. That means it's very walkable. Unlike one of the things which makes Auroville a very sustainable place as a concept is that it is geared for more pedestrian use, more e-vehicles, solar-powered vehicles. So over here in the Crown, there will be mostly people who walk, people on cycles, and a lot of collective transport, which will be like solar-powered or electric-powered transport. Absolutely no, polluting cars. So there's a whole program for that also, where the polluting cars will be parked, and that where they will be parked will be self-generating with solar energy and so on. So these are several aspects. And if I can tell you a few things about other parts of the city. So the residential part is where most people will live. But it's not only one place. Some people will live also in the cultural zone, where we have most of our schools, and we'll also have auditoriums and, exhibition spaces and all eventually. Then we have the industrial zone, which is still trying to grow. And there we need a lot of entrepreneurs and, people who have good ideas and energy to, work towards our industrial zone, which is also the place which will economically sustain Auroville. So you see, all aspects are being looked at. Then we have something called the international zone. Now, the international zone actually reflects Sri Aurobindo in his book, The Ideal of Human Unity, charts the evolution of all forms of human, or let's say social, political types of things. That there was aristocracy, there was democracy, there was socialism, all that thing. So then he comes to the point, because all through we are seeing, through all these things, human unity, which is the essence of Auroville, that you have all these people from all over the world. How do we live together, work together, and come to a space of unity? That we go beyond the area of conflict, that we go beyond this, the conflict, the destructive current which leads to war in the world. The international zone is a place where we will have cultural pavilions from all over the world. It doesn't have such a big area. We have the main ones right now is Bharat Nivas, which is the Indian pavilion. But the other pavilions will be housed more or less in continental clusters. And the idea is that different nations will somehow contribute to it also, or be engaged with it in some way, so that there is a real, that it's not just a thing happening within the 50,000 people who will one day live here. Right now we are still about less than 3,000 altogether, including children. But this is a time to grow. Auroville has come to a point where it will grow. It has to grow, and it will welcome people. So it will welcome people not only from India, it will welcome people from all parts of the world, and also from different governments and their cultural institutions who can participate in the international zone. We already have a number of projects with different international and national institutions, and these are things which can now multiply. The more we grow, the more possibilities will emerge. So this is the adventure to which I hope it was interesting for you, and I hope one day you will come and check it out and try and be here, experiment with it. So welcome to all. Thank you.